to start off by thanking all the audience tonight. Address Sauk City that is not on agenda. I'd like to thank RSTV for working on. We are starting on 81. Any other changes to someone would like to take the agenda? By aye. Same if you're the for 4 regular city council. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Same if you're unanimously. April 7, 2004 of a bill meeting. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Favor 5. There's none. And now we're on number 6. Mayor, today have the Sauk and themselves. I'm understanding Joe us. Have any questions? We're now at items agenda. A couple public hearings. The applicant Sunday on 3-year off 3-year loans and seasonal outdoor sales in the city of Scrap. The license year 2015 2006.
We are approval of annual hearing station on all this rate insurance and was which Northern Investment have senior hockey retail for a number 434 RFN LLC. I'm FN for has liquid taxes still life insurance. Currently, supermarket to dealing operating status. Legal status is as a link operating taxes to one not for applicant pay or prove their license on the condition all taxes have been paid. 2018. I will applicant last week indicating that plans to become at a work thing to say no is I think some of it is council is to the committee current on their property taxes. Two alcohol, Sauk raised alcohol tax week, and has a fire the police department are fine that you don't have a letter that kind. He was checked as if their office and his Sauk policy was also invested on published test and staff request that the new of the light outdoor bills to this answers have.
Are there questions for Council, Mr.
We just to the request and the RF tax paid for having applied.
Great question. Normally happens and approve if they don't obtain license fund. So I think that's really
Thank you. Any questions? Public hearing, wish to address the City Council issue. Motion set. Versus 5. Same. Council to do. Are there any questions?
Being special, being club on sale June for the above.
And a second against. Motion. Here on set Rapids. View its suspension program ordinance.
Part of city code involved with Minnesota and Rockville, all together, public education, that affair, and it's detention. It's home. It's so that central use public participation. About 6 is students, I fellows employers, and it's good hope catch that for tandem
Last comment. Ordinance revision to construction. The primary revision that you'll see in here, the chunk of new wood is for this process. MPA is on the site, so anyone who's doing new development or that's 10%. There's a process development information to help that volume reduction water that's lead to ever tight standards at the local government.
Hearing to city council.
One of the other items related to this that Pete and I have been working on is coming up with particularly on the year or so, we can make it as smooth as possible for everyone, staff included.
Already have a lot of these in place. It's just construction and post-construction that's being addressed. Become with the plan review, there is a road control that Jason requires now.
Thank you. Public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the Sauk Rapids City on this issue?
a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Same sign if you're against. Public hearing is. Is there any other discussion on this issue?
Motion for approval and publications of the revision chapter 14 of the code to ensure with state and federal stormwater mandates.
Second.
What you were looking for?
Accept the annual report.
And accept the annual report.
Good.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, same sign. That passes unanimous. We are now on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda 9A. Approve sending police chief and secretary to advanced data training. B. Approve recreation program budget. C. Approve 2015 plumbing and mechanical contractors licenses. D. Authorize amusement park Church of Sacred Hearts Festival. E. Approve and authorize the resolution for a temporary 3-2 beer liquor license for the Church of Sacred Hearts. F. Approve K9 release and its use in as the city considers K9 officers retirement and adoption by the handler. Authorize S prepare plans and specifications for sanitary sewer and water improvements related to the CASA 3 up the hill project. H. Approve work order number for Summit Avenue improvement project. I. Approve a supplemental number 4 for the Summit Avenue improvement project. J. approve a resolution approving the plans and specifications for the 18th Street North overlay improvement project and authorize the advertising for and K, approve a conditional offer for the police officer's position. What is the will of the council on items 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K?
I'll make a motion to there's consent agenda A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Same sign if you're against. Agenda passes unanimously. Number 10, regular. Number 10A, award the sale of 2015 A bonds. Mr. Kohlheimer. Are there any questions for Ms. Kurtz?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
question, actually, probably a question for, so the excess monies that we collected then, do you put that separate budget, that separate for pay down of additional debt? Where do you put that?
The covenants would require it to stay either in the capital, that capital project.
That one?
It's done. You might be able to use it for another project, but more than likely it would go into the debt service fund to be restricted there.
And you could use it to pay down future bonds in that, in.
Off early.
Okay.
What's happened, most projects, a little bit of a surplus it all depends. With this being a lot of old reconstruction, I thought the contingency might not be a bad idea to have it.
Okay. Good. Thanks, Jack.
Are there any other questions? Comments? Before we go any further, I'd just like to thank Jack for great work. To the council.
I'll make a motion to resolution awarding the sale of the $1,680,000 of general obligation improvement bonds, Series 2015A, fixing their performance specifications, direct execution and delivery, and providing their
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other further discussion? Seeing none, I'll question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Same here against. And passes unanimously. Fantastic. Do you need a signature right? Both. You need here and here. Just on the top here. Mine 3 times. Save. Yeah, I made them worse as I went. I thought you wanted 3 of us. I was going to give you it. No, thank you, Rebecca. right, we're on to number agenda B, resident property maintenance code. Mr. Schultz?
Your Honor, members of the council, when the council residential property maintenance code a month ago discussed fees that would ultimately go with that code. The council ultimately directed me to do some and bring that back to you guys this evening for discussion. You can see there is a wide variety in how communities deal with anywhere from hundreds to actually doubling the fee on a daily basis. So I'm looking for some direction on what the council would like to do with the currently. I was and what I told the council last month. I had told the council that our fee structure was 100, 200, 300 per second and third violations. That's actually for our codes in section 10. For this portion of the ordinance, what our fee schedule currently states, the fine would be up to $100, but it does not specify how you would determine if it would be 100, 200, or 500. Just basically says up to 500. So it's arbitrary. I think it should be modified or changed. So for some direction, I'm going to have to bring this back to you next month. It is going to have to be advertised. As I was trying to put together the ad for tonight, I just felt somewhat insincere to put an ad in the paper without having a general idea of what kind of fee we were talking about. That it would be better to have the discussion and put the ad in the paper. So with that, just a little update on the up to our 2 date. Staff has sent out a number of we know of at least one person, our residents, that working on their property, and the rest I'll have to say we have not heard from at all. So we may be in a position, hopefully not, but we may be in a position here. But the time that we this fee change that we might be looking at issuing our first citations if it continues to go this way. So I'll entertain any questions that the council might
have. Are there questions for Mr. Schultz?
Mr. Mayor.
Heinen?
Ted, can you walk us through the process of when the fine is actually actually instituted?
What would most typically, the first letter would be written. The first letter would basically identify what issues were, or and it would give the resident 30 days to comply or to contact staff and develop some sort of time frame for addressing the issue. If we do not hear from the folks in the letter, then we would proceed to a second letter, which would only be 2 weeks long. Basically say, you already have received, we haven't heard from you. We've got 2 weeks to address the issues or concerns. Please come. Don't hear from them of that second letter, they would take. And so about 6 weeks into the process before the first citation would be issued. And then the way I would envision a second and or a third or possibly a fourth citation is that they would come every 2 weeks, essentially after the first citation. No, you certainly could direct me to do something differently than that. Some cities do it on a basis. I think that's a little bit harsh, and what keep in mind that ultimately we certainly are hoping for compliance without having to issue citation. We're hoping that we don't end up in a position have to take somebody to court. Ultimately, we might end up in front of a judge, and I think showing that really the stick was the last. That we did everything that we could to get somebody to comply. It makes the city look a lot better with that process by hitting them kind of heavy, or if we should come across as being so handed in the end. And so, with that being said, coming fees that are reasonable part of that process as well. And fees are, what is reasonable, that's somewhat subjective. I think it could be different for every one of you. Keep that in mind as you're considering that, so that ultimately we might go to court. Mayor?
Mr. Heinen?
Todd, how much staff do you have within that 45-day period before the first citation is written out?
That I would, what I've seen so far with the letters that I is that going out to the site, taking pictures, coming back, the pictures up on my computer, writing the letter. What I found with every single one of them so far is that looking at the pictures on my computer, I'm seeing things that I didn't see the first time when I've been on the site, which have required me to go back out to the site a second time and take pictures and make sure that what the photo is actually what's actually there. So it's taken two visits to the site and actually writing the letter. I've got a couple of hours probably into by the time I got the second letter, it's going to be, you know, in the neighborhood of probably 4 hours that that'll have into this, into each individual one. Probably closer to 3 than 4 hours approximately.
Mr. Mayor, I have another question for Police Chief, Mr. Bice. Perry, how much staff time do you have within that 45 period before the first site is written? Because you guys go out there and visit and talk to them too, correct? Or not?
The ones that Mr. Schultz are dealing with, we don't get involved unless he's going to ask. Then it would probably be me who goes along. We've been doing parallel things, working on grass and junk in people's yards. So the one or two that I'm dealing with myself, I have by the time we read this letter, I have a couple hours into it and then check back and assist the homeowner in trying to figure out the solution. The one with the recent we dealt with the sticks in the guy's yard, or the branches and things, about a half an hour. It cleaned itself up. I mean, you could set the fine really high, but we never really recoup our costs. If you figure out the cost of what it takes to go out and do this job, the police officer, the fines never really ever recoup the cost of what it takes to do their job. So
answering my next question.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Kurt?
I just want to make to many residents here, but maybe TV. This isn't for just uncut grass. I go around and hand out citations. I had a couple phone calls for people that don't have grass mowed every week or something. It's the stuff that's, you know, a foot and a half tall, and we gunk in the yards, and the more problem properties. You're on vacation, you miss mowing a week. I don't think time to walk over and write you a citation. That's not what this is for.
Any other questions? Mr. Sauer.
Kind of a question here, maybe a little bit of discussion. Talking first violation, second, third violation. Are we talking about violation? Otherwise, what happens if maybe there's someone that let's say vehicles, they clean them up, and then 6 months later it's the way it was. How would we handle those? You know, is that considered repeat, new violation?
Yeah.
Something to think about and discuss, you know, as well.
That's the question, and I think if we to right now the way we would treat that is if somebody had some that caused us through a process and they got rid of the car, so there were no issues ultimately. When the cars came back, I guess I would start the process over again currently with the that we have set up. If we had something in our code that was for a repeat violator, then we might go about it in a somewhat different way. And I think because ultimately the reason we an administrative citation process years ago was ultimately for repeat violators, for the people who just year after year caused us to have to write letters and waste staff time and government dollars, basically giving them the same message that we'd given them the year before. So that is a good comment. So we certainly could add something structure for a repeat within a certain time.
Thank you.
Let's so Todd now you're saying that we start out with 2 written warnings, right?
Yep.
They get 1 written warning, and then 2 weeks later we send them.
Yep, 30, after 30 days.
And then we start fines.
Correct. Not talking about, we actually talk about the fine with the very first letter. We make them aware that you know, in the end, that ultimately fine.
So in the letter structure of what the fines are going to be.
Yep. And the second letter, it's going to be even stronger, saying this is basically your last. This is the fine if you don't comply with it in the next. So they're going to be notified immediately and in both letters of the fine if ultimately that thing goes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So initially, the fine does not happen until the 45th day.
Correct.
Sense.
Correct. To be honest with you too, I've got one of my letters that I sent out. There's in so many problems, it wasn't going to be reasonable for them to 30 days, so I gave them 60 days. But in most cases, it'd be 30 days, the first letter.
Is that number, are you able to judge what amount of time you give them, or is that up to the council?
Well, ultimately, it's up to the council, but acting on the council's behalf, I'm making decisions on a case basis, and like I said, overwhelmingly, they're going to be 30 days in most cases. But this one, there's no possible way they could have had it addressed in 30 days.
Any other questions from council for Mr. Schultz? Or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Hunsinger?
Comment. I think you're looking for direction from what the fee should be also. I think it should be reasonable, but I think it also needs to be large enough to get there. That they need to do something too. I mean, I've seen some examples where they kind of start at $100 and go to $250, double it up again to find. I think we need to do something similar.
Mr. Heinen?
Thank you. Also, looking at this and trying to figure out how many man hours that everyone's going to have involved with city staff, never recoup we've got in there, but we have to make it so that it's an eye opener for everybody. Now, I've got some ideas that I'm just going to throw out. My opinion is the first fine should be $250, the fine should be $500, the fine should be $1,000. When we get to the fine, we're probably going to court anyway. General, and that has never happened yet. Correct, Todd? You know, and we don't want that to happen either. Also say that the second fine should be 2 weeks after the first fine is issued. Because otherwise it's going to be 45, it's going to be what, 2.5 months?
It would be, well, the first would be 45 days, then another for the second fine, so the 2 months, and then for the third fine, it would be 2.5 months we would have into this before potentially we would start actually looking at going through the court system.
Correct. And if we look at it at the time frame of now, September anyway, before anything would actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And generally happen every year. Start going through the process, and then we're in September already, and we still don't have things taken care of. So I really think the fine should be up there. Just my opinion, sir.
I'm in agreement with you, but I think it should start out at $, then go to 100, and then go to 1,000. At least I think we should give them a chance to at least clean it up. But I mean, that's my opinion.
Mayor.
Yep.
I with you, but I also believe we are going to give them every opportunity to clean it up. I mean, even Todd was saying earlier that he gave us 160 days. And assuming that if they are working on it and it takes them a little longer, we'll give them another extension. But if they all decide not to do it anymore, what's $100 fine do?
Right.
You know, because we've given them 90 days. And pretty soon we're into the fall. Pretty soon the snow's going to be flying. Thing gets done then. And the process all all over again.
Mayor,
Mr. Hunsinger?
I saw a puzzled look on somebody at the end of the dais. No question. Reasonable, Adam. 250, 500, 1,000 reasonable? Who decides? What is it?
Mayor, members of the council, ultimately a judge decides that. I'm not a prosecutor. I've done a little bit nuisance type work. I will tell you that judges, you know, when a matter comes before them, if it's specified what the fine is, they can assess a fine up to $1,500. I'm not aware of a judge going anywhere near that. My gut's telling me that $1,000 is not going to be looked on favorably by the judge. I don't have any rationale other than just kind of what judges do. You know, personally, I think often times these fines are light, but I mean that's kind of my own personal opinion on some of this. So I 1,000 just kind of smacks me as a lot that I don't know if a judge is going to go. 500, I think, you know, not out of the question at all.
Do you mean 1,000 for the third offense, or first?
1,000 period for any offense.
Period.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hunsinger?
since I'm looking directly at him, I can do this. 255, 750. I mean, was defended. Is it defendable or?
Yeah, I think any of it's defensible, but defensible, or a judge is going to go along with it. Things, you know, there are some pretty significant violations out there that the fine is only a couple $100. I mean, significant traffic violations. I mean, significant misdemeanors, and you know, state law violations that are the fine is significantly less than ours.
Mr. Just,
Go ahead.
I do know if if the if the fee is too high, generally you're looking at low income, and we have these issues with utility billing. It just starts compounding. It creates the problem where they can never get out of it. So if you do create it too high, you know, 100 for most people, my guess is most of these properties is going to be pretty significant. If that doesn't do it, then, you know, whatever you do on the second, but we get a lot of these on our low income, and actually it seems like they end up paying more fees than they do, or fines than they do actually would have been if they're just paid on time and done a lot of stuff. But sometimes it can just cause a rippling effect that the people you're trying to get to fix it now, they just have less money to do it.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Hannon?
I appreciate that comeback, but in a real sense, we are trying to make people conform, and we're going to give them all the time in the world to conform as long as they're working. I mean, correct, Perry, Todd? I mean, we're going to work with the residents. Yep. Before the first an issue.
Yep.
So it's not like they're going to get this $100 or $250 fine within 30, 45 days. They are working on their problem and working on their issues. We're going to keep working with them because we don't want to give them a fine. It's my take.
Mr. Olson?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Todd. When you were doing your research, you know, often people maybe don't believe that they're going to get a fine. Get a letter, they may not comply with it, thinking maybe for some reason that nothing will happen, and then you get that fine, and then there's a wake-up call. Really, what we're looking for is compliance. We're looking for them to work with us. We're looking them to clean up the property. Government services like owning things like that. There are permit efforts the city does, and we establish permits due to the time it takes. But then there's enforcement, and in this city, the other cities and other counties, that's you never recover. He said, you know, so that's extremely hard. That's that service that we provide to the greater good of the community that is paid for by this. We want to record some of that mistake, but that's stuff that Thomas and the Perry does, and we all do every day. My only comment was to Todd is what is after that first fine that you get that wake up call that somebody says, oh my gosh, I just got $100 fine, or and I don't want or $600 fine. Actually, then say they do what we really want them to do, which is to call Todd and say, oh, okay, what do I need to do? And so I lay that out there for something to think, as that that level of compliance that comes after that first fine, because I'm sitting here thinking, if comply, and I say that meaning call staff out a program or a plan to be the issue after that second fine, and I bet that drops significantly, because after they get that second notice fine, they don't pay that anyway. The third notice, they're not going to pay that anyway. It's what we're taking to court. It's the whole issue. Plus, they haven't paid any fines, and that's what Adam's talking about. You know, $1,550. I don't agree with that, you know, and that's what Adam's saying. They're not going to levy that fine on them, and so that's kind of a marriage of those two things, you know. Just food for thought.
Mr. Mayor, so I got a follow-up question for you, Ross, or for Todd. So that if we get $100 or $200 or whatever the first fine is, all of a sudden they come in and say, "Oh, can we work this out? And do I have to pay the first if I'm working this out? Where do we do that?"
Mr. Mayor, member of the council, I don't know what Mr. Schultz is going to say, but the answer, if they the fine, you have to pay the fine. You're here working with us, and that's a fantastic thing, and I think that's something we can appropriately discuss discuss with that particular property owner. But you're here so you don't get the second fine. And I maybe I overspoke what Todd's going to say, but that would be my opinion on that. Council direction of Todd came to me. It does happen sometimes when somebody, you know, they don't get the resolution they want from Todd. They want to speak to the city administrator, and that would be. We're past that. I'm glad you're here to work on something there on the second hurdle.
Yeah, in Your Honor, it's important to remember too that our process that we've got laid out will allow us for people to appeal the decision that I make back to the council. So if somebody feels that I've come in front of the council and say, hey, here's what happened, here's the situation, we're willing to work on it. And you guys then could reduce the fee, eliminate the fee, whatever you guys feel is appropriate.
Well, Mr. Mayor?
Well, I think we've had some really good conversation. Go ahead, Mr. Heinen.
I've got another proposal that being favorite attorney doesn't like the $1,000. 100, 300, 600, or 1, 300, 500. I think that second fine should be up there, though.
Mayor? I agree. It has to be, I mean, I understand the first one, but the second one, we need to let them know we want. Our goal, like we said earlier, I think Nick said it too, we just want this stuff cleaned up. We want to levy a fine. But I think we need to get their attention too, and I like the 100, 300, 600, and it's right in line, Todd, with what you had in your request for action here. If you look,
so then do we have a consensus on what we'd like to see? Or, I mean, he different sets of numbers, so does it?
Well, I think the second set of numbers, the 136, because the attorney was giving us the eye then, you know. Probably going to throw out the 17 in court. Okay. Well, hopefully we never have have to go there. But I'm willing to work with, and if we get the $100 fine, and all of a sudden they say, okay, oh, we got a problem, let's fix it. You know, that's what we're really do, is have them come to us before any fines are taken care of or issued. But I do believe the second fine should be issued 2 weeks afterwards. And I believe it should be up there at 300.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Sauk.
The 136, part of me would like to see something a little bigger right off the bat, and really be an eye opener. Time I think we want to show them that and to work with them, and we don't want to give them these hefty fines anyway. We want this stuff fixed. So I do like the 136. The only other thing is still possibly for a repeat. We've already time into them once, again and again and again. Maybe on that we could jump right to the. I'm not sure how people feel about that, but the thought of the repeats, I think is it could definitely. So,
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Ryan.
Follow-up question with that too, with what Nick said. That's something we should probably start at like next year. I mean, to see what happens this year and see another repeat the following year, and then up with another fee schedule, or right to the 300 odd.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, I'd be just fine with that. Yeah, see what happens. Point in, I guess, if we don't have to, I'd really like to see. We don't want to do any of this if we don't have to.
Good idea.
Ms. Thronson.
I agree with 136. I think the first one, as much as we'd like it to be higher, I think it's a wake-up call. I've had residents approach me who are concerned with the cost of getting up to what we're asking them. I've always just told them that the point of this is contact the city and let's work together. We don't want to issue. That's not the point of this. So, second fine should be higher. Agree with the repeat offenders. I think that if we have people who are chronically in violation, that they should feel the pinch the second time or the third time much more severely than who's a first-time offender.
So then do I hear consensus on direction for you got it, Todd?
I got it.
Let's move to other items. A, fluoridation rule approval from the Department of Health. Pete?
Does Minnesota Department of Health has heard our fluoride requirements? That was content of water shall be controlled in average concentration of 1.2 milligrams per liter. And what they do is they give you a 0. milligrams per liter, and more than 1.5 milligrams per liter. I think as of May 21st, this goes in effect, the average will be 1.2 milligrams per liter. So we have a range of 0.5 to 0.9 that we'll have to do. So I don't know, all those people that want fluoride moved, it's kind of a half win for them, and so these are all mandated by the
Thank you. Any questions for Pete on that? Let's go to B, law enforcement hiring procedure. Mr. Olson?
Members of the council, we certainly can chime in here any time. Over the past few months and years, we have brought candidates you for hire here at the city. They have been law enforcement can, law enforcement can, public works, administrative candidates, and they have been facilitated a little differently. There's some history behind the reason that is so. Specifically tonight, I want to talk a little bit about enforcement being when staff brings a candidate to the council, as was witnessed tonight, was a conditional offer, and meant that they were extending an offer to that candidate as long as they passed the second evaluation and the physical. Then that candidate would be brought back in ceremonial swearing. The reality is, for the most part, they're hired. If they, and we had some good discussions on finance committee about the process of actually making that conditional offer in the before, and then bringing them back after. And what if there was an evaluation in that psychological we might want to take a look at? You know, it seems redundant to make that conditional offer with some hurdles to go over, and then bring them back to time when prior to actually starting work with the city of Sauk Rapids. Other staff members, we go through a process very similar, if not the same, as that review of applications for law. We keep it on finance committee, interview those applicants, and then we actually bring that candidate as a recommendation to the council for hire. What the city is administratively proposing, and the person on finance committee as recommending, is that we do law enforcement the same way. We would go just like we do for applicant. We just wouldn't come to council twice, to be quite honest with you. We would interview, stay in touch with the person on finance committee, interview like we do with the interview panel, and ultimately make a recommendation to council after those necessary, the psychological and the physical examination. What that does is it gives staff, administration, and the person on finance committee an opportunity to review that information and then make that appropriate recommendation to the council. It actually streamlines it, to be quite honest with you. You know, in talking to Perry, the question that I had and the attorney had is, why are we doing it differently? And the only thing we come up with is the Civil Service Board. That we had a Civil Service Board that had a component in this hiring, and that Civil Service Board had a little hurdle they had. And once the service board was taken away, never eliminated that extra hurdle, to be quite honest with you. And so there was really no rationale other than that had to be the reason why. Now, everything will be facilitated the same. You just won't have 2 meetings for a law enforcement professional prior to actually coming to work with the city of Sauk Rapids. Not that we have had lots in the past. We'll say that other here in central Minnesota have had similar situations where you did a conditional hire and to the council satisfaction potentially they didn't pass necessary hurdles, and then different opinion after those hurdles what went through, and the council had already somewhat a job to that person. This eliminate that liability to be with you for the city of Sauk Rapids. I'm not saying that there ever was one, but we want to eliminate those before they become a reality. Well, what looking for, because when talking, there's no really requirement that we do this, but because we've done it in the past, somewhat of a past practice, we wanted to make sure the council was in the event that you really, oh, I like it the way it is, let's keep it, or by consensus, we would move forward from this day forward as we hire all other city professionals from to administration, now law enforcement. And that is a recommendation for the personnel.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that at all. Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize. I mean, there has been times when we've actually been ready to go to the council and couldn't because of that conditional offer. You know, we could have actually been making a recommendation at that time to the council to move forward.
I have to agree with streamlining stuff, especially for our police department.
Any other comments? All good? Good. Okay. Compost site closed July 4th. Holiday.
Yeah, just the way it fell this year, it's on a Saturday, and I caught last week, so I think it's going to the paper. Not sure, but we try to get the word out there that we're going to be closed.
Thank you. Are there any council items or communications?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Hunter?
I have a question for our police chief. I got to go back to the police department. A couple weeks ago, I had a agenda to hire an officer. Did that one get hired or not?
That young man was in a process of almost the same time as the city of Sauk. He was down in Iowa. Larger department, 20 miles from his home. He's being backgrounded by the in the top of the list, and most likely will be hired by them because he has a good background.
Okay.
So he asked for a week to consider and declined, and is going to offer a job by them in August. Their timeline is they're going to offer August.
Okay.
Currently, well, let's see. Currently, we for this hiring process that we're currently posted, because we interviewed all the candidates that we felt met the Sauk Rapids. We reposted. We got applications in as of 4 this afternoon when it closed, and we're through those on Wednesday. The two sergeants, the sergeants, myself, and set up interviews. Personnel and Finance Committee will join us on the interviews if you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, question for the chief. You shared that with me, and I do appreciate that. One thing I hadn't thought about that time, and just thinking about it right here, you know, I'm not saying that we choice number 2, but the opportunity in the event that he, like in a week or two, that he doesn't get that job. I mean, could he still be considered if we had openings?
Well, if he's rescinded the offer, you have to remake it for him to. We did.
You'd have to remake the offer, but we have to go through the entire process.
To talk to legal about that. See how that works. I've never, and I don't think there's anything that we couldn't have read through the personnel and finance personnel policies that would be doing that. But he is expecting an offer in August, so I could give him a call back then if we were still in need.
(13) Approve the list of bills and claims.
I had one other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor. I just wanted members of the council, the citizens of Sauk Rapids to Rapids River Days, which is starting on Thursday this week with the pageant at the high school and the parade on Friday night at 6, and then food fest all day down at the park. So one of the events that's near and dear to a lot of us. Be hopefully a nice weekend for them. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Approve the list of claims.
Make a motion to approve the list of bills and claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign if you're against. Bills and claims are passed unanimously. We are now on number 14, adjournment.
Take a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:17.